Good afternoon, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? Awesome. So I'm going to talk a bit more on the exploration front. You've had some great presentations on the production side. I'm going to delve into the front end of the business and talk to you about what's exciting with GFG. GFG, go for gold, gift from God. Depends on which side you lie on that one. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited to speak to you guys today. I went backwards on that. Just a cautionary statement here. I'm a geologist. To be a geologist, you have to be an optimist, so I will make forward-looking statements. Please refer to our statement on our website. When you think about GFG, we set this company up 8 years ago, and our mission, our vision was always be a district-scale explorer. We're a team that's found ore bodies before, operated them. We have immense familiarity with the camp through our previous company called GFG Resources, and we really felt that we wanted to work at the front end of the business. We control 800 square kilometers. That's a massive land position. You can put the Timmins camp. I'm going to show you in a subsequent slide. We are one of the largest landholders in this camp outside of Newmont. And we put that together because we believe in this camp and we believe there's future discoveries to be made, and that's really the focus of the company. World-class belts. I don't think there's any doubt that Timmins is an exceptional asset and sits on the world-class stage. I think about endowment, I think about how many ounces has been mined here, but I actually think about what's yet to be found, and I believe there's an immense amount of gold yet to be found here, and to me those are world-class belts that we want to be active in. Tier 1 systems, when you look at the presentations that preceded me, you can run through Alamos, you can run through Greenstone, and you can run through the previous peers that are presented. These are world-class systems, and that's what we're here to find. We're aggressive, we're disruptive. What does that mean? We're trying to do things differently. We recognize the history of the camp, and we recognize how to make discoveries moving forward in this camp, and that's what really GFG is trying to work towards. Our mission, obviously, to aggressively advance our district scale assets. I like the bottom one, obviously, to operate to the highest standard for the benefit of all our stakeholders. We're about a 25 million market cap company. You can see we trade on the TSX and the OTC. We'd be reasonably well financed. When you think about our share structure, one of the preceding companies is our largest shareholder, Alamos Gold. They've been a strong supporter of ours over the last 4 years, definitely very thankful to themselves. And insiders here still have a good participation. This is a team that's done it before, myself and Anders, who's in the audience here as VP Exploration, Mark LePage. We've all worked together for almost 12 years now, and it's an exceptionally strong team. And at the board level, we're teams that have found mines, built mines, operated them, and worked in the gold business for the better part of the last 30 years. When you think, and when I think about mineral exploration, this is a tough game we play, and your odds are long. So you got to be good to be successful. Our team's found a great ore body out in Saskatchewan in our previous company, but the graph really demonstrates our challenge. Discovery trends are declining, and it's harder to find an ounce of gold, and those ounces are obviously worth more at $32.50 an ounce. So, you know, I think you've got to be really selective about how you approach the exploration business. We put together these huge land tracts of ground, and we identify them through a really good detailed understanding of the history of the camp and where we see opportunity yet, and we try to go about things a different way. We have a highly credible team that has worked and found gold mines across Canada before, and I think we're one of the teams that can be very successful in the camps like Timmins. So this is what I would refer to as our sandbox. It's a big sandbox. It's 200 kilometers across there. It essentially spans from Borden over to Kirkland Lake. And in that map, GFG holds 800 square kilometers in 3 land positions. On the west side of that would be the Penn Gold and Doré Gold property. Those are between Timmins and Foleyet on the highway out. So if you're driving out that way and looking for some moose, you're driving across our property there, and we're certainly active out on the Penn property. Doré sits between the IM Gold property and Borden. So a very strategically located land position as well. And then most recently, in a deal that we've done with Lionel Bonhomme and his partner Peter, who's at the back of the room there, IEP, we put together the Gold Arm Block, which is out east of Timmins. I think it's a great place to make the next discovery, and I don't make that lightly because we put a lot of thought into where we go and why we go there. But when I think about Timmins, there's a lot of reasons to be here. There's lots of really strong infrastructure base. You can look around, there's mills around us that have been invested in over the seasons. There's a lot of really high quality people here, people that want to be in the mining business. You have a supportive communities and stakeholder base. Most importantly, I think there's a lot more gold to be found in the ground, and it starts with that. So endowment is how much gold is here, and then the remaining endowment in this camp I think is very high. When you look at Côté, 20 years ago, Côté wasn't on the map, Borden wasn't on the map, Timmins West wasn't on the map, and those mines really show the discovery potential of this camp. So I think this is a great place to find a new mine. There's a statement on the bottom here, there's a need for feed. There's lots of infrastructure here. So I believe discoveries will be high value, and I think this also, given the history of this camp and the amount of till cover, and I'm going to talk more about till as we go forward because it's one of our key exploration techniques. It's one of the reasons I think you're going to find more gold in this camp going forward. This is our land position out east of Timmins, and it's where we spent the bulk of our dollars over the last 2 years. It's called the Gold Arm property. It came through about 6 different deals, 2 of them with IEP, several prospectors in GFG staking, and together that combined land positions about 160 square kilometers. It abuts the land positions of Timmins Gold, Fen Gib. Those are our neighbors off to the east. You can see how proximal we are to some of those deposits, immediately north of Taylor. So if you're driving along the highway out east of Timmins, we're just a couple kilometers to the north of you there. So this is one of our focuses, 40 kilometers from Timmins, directly proximal to Black Fox, to Stock, to Holt Holloway. Great place to make a discovery. I'm going to talk to you about two main systems here. Montclerg is on the west end. That's an advanced deposit. The Aljo is a historic mine. It's on the east end of the deposit. Those are our 2 key targets that we're focused on in the area. This is really our growth, and in growth I mean in our understanding of the system. So when we came here and we acquired the first block from Lionel back in 2021, I think our understanding and that cross-section we drew on the left really reflected our knowledge and our thought, but we saw a good system. We saw a system that could have some bulk tonnage potential. We saw a system that could have some underground potential. And over the last 3 years, we've drilled about 15,000 meters into this target. The deepest holes have demonstrated very interesting mineralization. 13 meters at 5 grams was a hole we drilled in Q4 of last year. It's the bottom right of that. It's down about 350 meters depth. It remains wide open. Those are economic intercepts. The geometries look solid. It's a nice looking system that remains open for growth. It's got a shallower portion to the system that could be an open pitable target, sort of gram to gram and a half material, some very high grade mineralization in that area in the upper footwall zone. So we continue to work this Montclerg target. We're currently doing some metallurgical work and some geological modeling, and I'm optimistic we'll be back drilling on this target later this year. Montclerg is a really interesting system. When you flip it to a plan map here, you see it's got about a 500-600 meter length and strike. Some well-drilled holes that you can see the highlights in the cross-section I've drawn would have been through the central portion of that hole. Still remains open to the east, and I think there's good opportunity to grow it in that environment. This is a very interesting system. The core that we drilled here last, and to me as a geologist, that's what I focused on most. This is not a high nugget effect system, and to me that means reliable gold. So you build a resource model, it's 2, 5, 10, 15, 20 grams, but it's got good continuity, and that's what I like to see in the core. This was some drilling that we completed back in late 2023, and it shows the deepest intercept yet to date on this property, and certainly some good scope to continue to grow a Montclerg in this lower footwall zone. It's not just that. The rocks here are right. We have kilometers of open strike yet to the east, and the local picture I showed you is just the bottom left portion of this map. But as you migrate east across the property, you've got all the same systems working. You've got all the same right host rocks here, and you have a real lack of exploration drilling. So this is the thesis of why you see the opportunity here is you can stand within 20 kilometers of mills and you can still find areas that don't have a single drill hole in them over kilometers. And so we're exploring those types of areas, and Montclerg is a really classic example where you've got a good looking gold system and very limited drilling along strike from it. If you migrate east on the property at Gold Arm, about 30 kilometers, you come to the Aljo mine. And this would be proximal to Timmins. That might be a name some of you would know a little bit more, had a higher production profile, some spectacular visible gold. And this mine, Aljo, was operational in the 20s and 30s. Not a lot of gold, 20,000 ounces plus or minus, but it's grade that matters here. There's good, strong, visible gold. There's high grades here. There's an old mine that went down a couple hundred meters. And so GFG is drilling on here at present. We drilled about 11 holes over the last 12 months. And we have an active program at present. Really interesting results. These are high-grade vein systems. Metallurgy looks quite interesting. Visible gold that was drilled here back in 2023. And I can tell you we're certainly seeing some very good intercepts in the current drilling as well. So I'm highly optimistic that Aljo will have some life to it and continue to grow. It's a strong sheeted vein system. There's not just one vein. There's 3 or 4 or 5 veins here. They're high-grade. They've been demonstrated to be mineable. And it's a really interesting setting. So Aljo is an area where we spent a fair bit of time this year, and you're going to hear GFG talk more about it. That's the Gold Arm property. That's out east. That's the smallest of our 3 properties. It's the most advanced, though. So if we migrate west along the highway, west of Timmins, we go to Folliette, that Penn Gold property is about 60 kilometers long. So it's an exceptionally large land position. That saddles what we would project of the Porcupine-Destor Fault Zone, which is the controlling structure that comes through Timmins here. South of that is the Doré block, which sits sandwiched between Côté and the Borden block of Newmont, and it's in a very strategic location between the Rideout Deformation Zone and the Rundle Deformation Zone. Both of these are exceptionally interesting land positions. They're earlier stage. There's no resource here. But a lot of really interesting geology. There's lots of really good, interesting drill intercepts. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about the business plan and what we want to do on each of those properties this year. Now, you've seen a lot of bricks of gold in the previous presentations, so unfortunately, we're looking for grains of gold, and we will find bricks in time. But we do a lot of till work, and till work is really looking at grains of gold, and it doesn't sound like much, but if you take a 10-kilo sample of till, dirt, and you find 50 grains of gold, and the 50 grains of gold might be, 30 microns across or 50 microns across. Some of them you can't even see. But that is very relevant. That's how you find new gold mines. So we're looking at the till, and that helps us look and explore through areas where there's no outcrop. So the vast majority of the Penn property is under between 15 and 35 meters of till. Not a lot of rock to look at. There's actually not a lot of drilling out here. And so we're using that till to explore regionally. So every triangle on this map is a 10-kilo sample. If they're red and orange, the gold grains haven't moved very far, and the bigger they are, the more gold grains there are. So over 60 kilometers, we could filter out big chunks of the ground and really focus in on finding new gold systems. And that's what GFG has done. So each of those target areas are things we've either drilled or found, and we found new gold systems out here. And then there's some areas like that western area where our normal sampling doesn't work, and we do these lines of till. This is sonic drilling. And I'll show you a target that's quite interesting in the next one here. And it's here. So here's an area where these lines are sonic drilling, and this swamp is massive. This is a 4-kilometer wide by 10-kilometer swamp. So how do you explore in that? You have to go out there in winter and drill some sonic holes. You have to sample through the till. You have to get the bedrock, and then you see what's in the till and in the bedrock and see if you can find any signatures of a system. So this was work done in 2022. It's an area where we felt highly prospective. There's no drill hole within 3 or 4 kilometers of this target. 0. So we go out here, we sit in the middle of a swamp, and we drill to sample the till, and we're trying to find a gold deposit, but we get a little sample of bedrock. And at the bottom of that sample of till, we hit gold in the bedrock. So the whole goal of mineral exploration looking for till is to find gold in the bedrock, but we actually found, or eventually, but we found it with the sonic hole. So this is interesting. So here we are underneath the deep swamp. Nobody's ever explored or looked here. We're 5 kilometers off the highway, and we're finding new and exciting new gold targets. So this is the type of work that GFG is doing. The structural model I'll show you there is the backdrop of what Anders and his team have built in terms of understanding the structural setting to it. And we will step out here and drill this target this winter off the swamp. 2.5 grams is an interesting sample. It's not high grade, but if you walked around blindly and picked up a piece of rock and you found 2.5 grams, what's the chances of that? Very, very low. So those are the types of things we're trying to do. Muskego target is a really interesting one for us, and it's one, the rocks in the subsequent slide that were at the bottom of the sonic hole are quite interesting. We see the right character of the system. We see the right alteration, the right veining, the right structural setting. These are all things that geologists like us will look for. So Muskego is a very interesting target on Penn. It's 60 kilometers out to the west side of Timmins. We go 40 kilometers south of Penn, we get to Doré. And Doré sits next to Côté and Borden. And these are 2 large deposits, probably each going to be 5 to 10 million ounces. Obviously, Côté is much bigger than that, but Borden's still got a lot more to grow. This property, Doré, very limited work as well. So again, a bunch of till work, 250 samples across this, 1 every square kilometer, and lo and behold, we're finding anomalies in the till that nobody's ever found or noticed before. So this is how you find new systems like Cote and like Borden, and I'm really excited for what we've seen at Dore. We don't have all the data back, and there's various processes we do to analyze the till, but at an early stage, this data looks really interesting. So for us this year, we're a small company. Our market cap's 20 million, and we're going to spend about $3 million in Timmins this year. I think that's probably the most leveraged company in this office to in-the-ground expenditures in Timmins. So I'm excited about what we're doing here. Lots of drilling, lots of modeling. All 3 properties are advancing, and I really think GFG is one of the companies that has the chance to discover the next great Timmins gold mine. Overall, I think what I've talked about today is a district-scale exploration model. We're a strong technical team that really understands what we're doing. We've got strong backers in both corporate and the high net worth. The Lundin family is a relevant shareholder of ours. We've got good money in the bank and a good program design. So I'm excited with that, and I really thank you for your time today.